Hi guys, it's me Tasnim Lokman and I'm here with
Amira
Aisha. She is, I guess, if you guys don't know, you guys have been living under a rock, but she is the acting president of Muda and also the deputy president of Muda, and she is also the assemblywoman for Puteri Wangsa in Johor. You guys, that's in Johor. If you guys don't know, you stay in Johor Bahru.
Betul.
Okay.
Correct.
Alright, orang Johor dengan kita hari ini.
Yeah.
Alright, guys, before anything else, I know we're all talking about the Peaceful Assembly Act and we're talking about Amin's court case today and stuff. But benda paling penting yang nak tanya dia sekarang ni is about your wedding with Lokman. Okay, can you just like spill us some tea on how you guys got together, bercinta di party bersama? Oh my god, I sound like a gossip person. I'm sorry. Okay, please start.
We've known each other actually. I've known him since I was 15 years old.
15?
Because we were both debaters.
Okay.
And then I was in a tournament when he was 17, and I developed a schoolgirl crush.
Oh my god, cute!
But he didn't notice or recognize me. And then we were in university together, but nothing really happened. And then when we started working together, I think that was when we realized that our vibes match and we have a lot of similarities and we enjoyed spending time together. And most importantly, I think it wasn't like tiba-tiba I pun macam gossiping kan. It wasn't like heart dropping, like wow, I 100% fell in love kind of thing. It's more of like slow, steady,
slow burn,
very very warm,
nice.
Rather than like electric shock, you know.
So how old is he? Like I'm sorry I don't know Lokman's age, guys, but like generally like when you had a crush on him, like was he like a senior ke macam mana?
Yeah, we had there was a debate competition. I was 15, he was 17. So we were
masih di sekolah bersama.
Masih di sekolah. But I was from a different school. He was from MRSM. So we had a tournament, and then my school was severely defeated.
It's okay.
He's an amazing debater. So I more to like admired him. So even when I went into university, we went to the same university. Saddiq went to the same university.
Oh my god!
As well.
Are you UIA?
Yeah, we're
alumni.
I call.
Okay, I Benels.
Dia dah theater, Benel.
Yeah, unfortunately. Yes, I am. I proudly am. Okay.
Yeah, so then I still recognize him and I still admire his debate skills, etc., etc. But as I mentioned, nothing serious happened until we were working together. Yeah, and then when he resigned from the party was when we decided that we do not want to both be in a leadership position if we are to get married. And so, you know, he resigned from the party leadership position, and that's when we decided to take the next step.
Did he resign? Because he said he promised if he didn't win. So was that
he
just
resigned?
an excuse?
No, he resigned, and that's when we decided, it's time to take the next step
it's
into
like
this
fate
relationship.
Showing the path.
Kind of. Anugerah Tuhan.
Alhamdulillah. So like now it's almost 1 year, almost 1 year dah. Tanya,
terima kasih.
handling a marriage is not easy, especially in a leadership position. And also partly you are the people's rap kan?
People's rap,
Actually, okay, I've always wanted to ask this. How is it as a politician, also having a husband and trying to juggle marriage and stuff? Like, how is it for you?
Well, I think for myself, because I don't have kids yet, so it's still not that difficult in comparison to those who have kids, who have to go through pregnancy, who have to go through childbirth. I think they've had a much tougher time. But I'm also really, really grateful that Lokman himself is a very understanding man. He knows what the job entails. He knows what kind of things that I have to do as the people's representative. He knows that I have to be in Puteri Wangsa a lot and not in Kuala Lumpur with him. So there's a huge mutual respect and understanding of each other's work. And he is until today still my biggest supporter. And I mean, he was my campaign manager when I was contesting, so he sort of gave me the win. So all that accumulated, I think, especially as women in this kind of position, it's so important to find a partner who's willing to let you shine without feeling like their ego is challenged, and that's a huge thing in a society like us lah.
You're just like spitting out facts, man. Like we can see that in a lot of examples. Like I'm not gonna name names. But like politically ada.
You don't want, you don't want someone who dims your shine,
Betul.
So you want someone who allows you to be out there.
And like, how do you feel finding the right guy? Because I know a lot of women are having a hard time finding the right guy who supports them 100% and understands them 100%.
I think definitely, as I mentioned, like the fact that we started off as friends, as really good friends, so that we already know each other, and we've worked together. So, I mean, if you've been able to sort of like work together, that's already a huge challenge.
Betul.
He's seen me at my worst even before we became romantically involved, because he's seen me in party meetings, he's seen me during preparation of protests and all those kind of things. And so I think finding somebody who can understand you and can compliment you is something that is really, really important. To not be carried away by like excitement of like the sometimes there's this like macam temporary butterflies in the stomach kind of thing. To not be carried away by that, but understand what do you need in your life, and how can your partner help you to go through with that, and also how you can help your partner with what he wants in his life.
It sounds like a typical marriage, but extra.
And someone who can like, I think you jangan buka Twitter dulu kot sebab sebab hari ni macam banyak attack.
It's like you need to calm down first and be mentally prepared to go online. Oh my god, that must be so stressful.
But he makes it a lot easier. So
Okay, nice. So like, nak rahsia satu benda je, you suka masak apa?
I actually really enjoy cooking. Cooking is my love language. But I think one of the things that he really loves, and this is something that I asyik masak sebab dia suka, is super simple, which is telur masak kicap.
Oh my god, nice.
So I want to experiment other things, but he was like, boleh tak? Okay, boleh buat yang tu, but can you also make the telur masak kicap? I'm like, okay.
Ni bukan nak kecam feminism or whatever. It's just sometimes people just like to cook, right? I was hoping you'd say like Lokman suka masak apa juga.
Well, Lokman suka masak nasi lemak. Tapi
nice, that's hard.
But when I'm around, I like to cook. I personally enjoy cooking, and I feel that that's an unwind moment for me.
I agree. I definitely agree.
To each their own,
Kalau tak suka masak pun tak apa.
It's okay.
I grew up with people not liking cooking, so it's fine.
It's fine.
But cooking is like a therapy in a way.
Betul. I hate cleaning up.
Oh my
God. So
God.
he does that. I hate doing laundry. He does that.
Blessed.
I just like cooking.
Nice. Actually, cooking is like your experiment, Okay, so thank you so much for giving an insight on your life, kan? So let's go head on. Like today, pagi tadi, Amir Abdul Hadi was in court. Peaceful Assembly Act. What happened? Okay, you know what? Like, I somewhat understand, but it's super detailed because there's like parts of it and stuff, and what caused it, and blah 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 blah. And I'm pretty sure a lot of people want to understand it in in their own language as well. Untuk orang muda, especially. Pun intended. Okay, please go ahead and explain.
Well, actually, the case originated from a protest that was done when Amir was still the Secretary General of Muda, and it was done with Muda together. It was a protest called Mana Kapal LCS. So if you guys remember the protest, it was to question the government of what happens to the 9 billion ringgit cost of literal combat ship that was supposed to be delivered, but that only satu kapal siap and the rest kapal tak siap.
Betul.
So the question that we asked is Mana Kapal LCS. So the protest was done in front of Sogo, and then after that, 2 people were actually charged for the protest, and that was Amir Hadi and also Mandip Singh. Mandip Singh. And these 2 people were charged for organizing the protest. So already from the beginning, we were really angry with the charge itself, because we were there peacefully assembling and questioning about Kapal LCS. And this is not a small issue. This is about billions of ringgits of people's money. And it's about
more
the
than
countries.
MDB, kan?
And
No,
it's not. It's not.
It's not.
But it's. I mean, it's quite equivalent because it's about country security.
Yes,
right.
Exactly.
It's about country security because you're saying that this LCS is supposed to protect the country, but it's not there. But no kinds of investigation has been done towards the people that we questioned. But then charges were being made against Amir and Mandip, who questioned the kapal LCS. So that's number one. Number two, when he was being charged, it was charged under a Peaceful Assembly Act ataupun dalam bahasa Melayu Akta Perhimpunan Aman, specifically under this Section 9, where Section 9 ni dia menyatakan bahawa so if you want to organise a protest, you have to submit a notice at least 5 days before the protest was being done. And so that was the charge that was made against him. But a couple of things happened that we were really unhappy. Number one was the fact that the actual perpetrators of kapal LCS were not being questioned. One of them that we questioned during the protest is already the Deputy Prime Minister today. So that's one. Number two is that in the midst of the charges, the charge against Mandip was dropped. After Pakatan Harapan got into power, Mandip is from DAP and the charge against him was dropped. I fully agreed that the charge has to be dropped because I think that the Peaceful Assembly Act itself is an affront towards our right to assemble under Federal Constitution. But the question was that why is it that the charge against Mandip was dropped but the charge against Amir was not dropped? So when the case wasn't dropped, then Amir himself made an dalam mahkamah ni kita boleh buat macam there's this proceeding where he can cabar the integrity of the section itself lah. So what happened in the federal court today was because Amir and his team of lawyers they challenged the legality of Section 9. Because ni sebagai saya pun alhamdulillah habis belajar undang-undang. So I can speak a little about this. So we have the highest law, which is the Federal Constitution, right? So dalam Federal Constitution kita ada hak-hak rakyat, which is our enshrined rights of the people. One of them is the right to peacefully assemble. And that is clear cut in the Federal Constitution. So since Federal Constitution is the highest law, any law that was enacted that is ultra virus or that is not aligned with the Federal Constitution is actually unconstitutional and should not be used at all. So we question, Amir and also his lawyers question that Section 9 is ultra-virus or contradicting to Federal Constitution. Maknanya is unconstitutional and shouldn't be used. So after 3 years of battling in court, Alhamdulillah, this morning, Mahkamah Persekutuan, which is the apex court, Mahkamah Persekutuan ni mahkamah paling tinggi, under the lead of Yang Amat Arif Tengku Maimun, and I am so happy that because today is her last day to be able to see that judgment, they decided that Amir's appeal is right, and that Section 9 is indeed is not aligned with the Federal Constitution or is unconstitutional. And maknanya lepas ni Section 9(5) tidak boleh digunakan lagi. So it has to be taken out from the Peaceful Assembly Act because the court says that it is unconstitutional.
So that's insane. That's like a major milestone.
That's a huge milestone. So that's a win not just for Amir, not just for Muda, but it's a huge milestone for all Malaysians.
The who wants to at least
to assemble, to execute your right, to state your feelings towards a certain thing.
Exactly. That's like super cool.
Betul.
That's cool. That's cool, guys.
I am so immensely proud of Amir for going through, because going through a court process is not easy, and him going through it for the sake of all of us is something that I am extremely proud of.
That's amazing. Congratulations, guys. So that's a win-win. That's a double win. This 5 days, 6 days as well with Saddiq punya case. So like it's sorry, Amir stepped down as Sekjen a few days ago. So now with this win, where is, I mean, I'm not asking you on behalf of Amir, but in general, where is Muda had it with Saddiq, with Amir, semua we're moving into Muda punya leadership now.
Yeah.
So and you yourself.
Yeah.
So where are we going?
Yeah.
Not we. You guys.
Boleh sign Ali kalian.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
Well, right after Saddiq's court case, we had a leadership meeting.
Okay.
And we have made the offer to him privately and also publicly for him to be reinstated as our president. Because in 2023, when he was convicted in High Court, he was the one who insisted to step aside from the position of president. For me and for the rest of Muda, we felt that we still believe in his innocence, but he said that he wants to clear his name before he can hold any position at all in a political party. So we allowed him that transition. And that is also the reason why at that point, they wanted me to immediately assume the position of president. But I mentioned that because he just wants to step aside and clear his name, we shouldn't replace the position of president. So after he won his court case, I made the offer to him. We've all made the offer, and the whole party, especially the leadership, we've stated the reasons as to why we still believe in him and why we still need him as the party president. And we are now allowing Saddiq some time because he requested for some time to think about the offer, and that he wants some downtime. I can 100% empathize that this has been a very tough time for him for the past 5 years, not just for him but for his family members, and he needs time to think about that offer, so we're giving him that time. But however, Muda continues as usual. Definitely we would love, and we're definitely going to be stronger with Saddiq as the president, but Muda is not short of any talented individuals. We have a lot of amazing people in our party, and I'm sure that regardless of whatever's transition, Saddiq coming back as president or wanting to wait for party election, and the transition from Amir to Aini as Secretary General, none of that will really change the direction of the party, because at the end of the day, we've all worked as one team, and the vision for Muda and for Malaysia is still the same.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Since you talked about Muda's vision, I want to know, what is Muda's vision and mission now? Because I remember you said for the past few years, you guys are sitting back to the drawing board, nak ada, a direct pathway. So what is it now?
Yeah. Well, in terms of vision, it's still very clear for us is that what Muda wants to fight for is we upheld the democracy social. That is our ideology of Muda, where what we want is a Malaysia where everyone, regardless of their age, regardless of their gender, regardless of their race, regardless of their religion, will be able to live in a dignified Malaysia where they be able to get freedom, get justice, and also get solidarity. This is the three main pillars of democratic social democracy that Muda is championing. And this remains our vision for Muda. And that's the reason why any kinds of policies that we are fighting for is supporting the ideology that we have. Things like institutional reforms, things like freedom of education, things like capital gains tax, things like climate justice. All these things are aligned with the vision and ideology of Muda. That ideology has not changed. But the political direction of the party, I think this is something that whenever people ask about vision, when I answer all this social democracy thing, they sort of say that, but that's not what we want to know. What we actually want to know is politically, where is Muda heading?
Yes, please.
I think Malaysian politics today is super dynamic, right? And I think benda tu, even the current government pun sentiasa ada political party within the government that says, we want to pull out from the government, so the politics of Malaysia right now is super dynamic. There is no telling as to what's going to happen in GE16.
Betul.
We don't know whether the unity government Pakatan Harapan, Barisan Nasional, GPS, and all the component parties of unity government is going to work together in GE16. We don't know that. We don't know whether GE16 will be held in concurrently with some states' election, and whether or not the same composition or collaboration in federal election will also happen in state election. So none of that is sure. Similarly for Muda, it is very difficult to ascertain whether or not Muda will work alone. Or Muda will work with any other component parties in G16.
Is there any like in your mind right now?
Well,
on top of your head?
I mean, we have for the past couple of elections, we have worked very closely with PSM. PSM.
Sorry, yes.
We have we've worked with Pakatan Harapan, but we have already retracted our support, and we have spoke very outspoken against the things that Kerajaan Pakatan Harapan is doing. Whether or not we're going to collaborate with any political parties, that is something that will be decided nearer to general election. However, whatever happens, whether or not we work alone, or we work with any coalition, or we work with friends that upheld the same values, most importantly for Muda, it's not about the party, it's not about the political alignment, bukan tentang kita kerja dengan siapa, but about what we are fighting for. And that's why now for Muda, rather than talking too much about kita nak kerjasama dengan ni, kita nak kerjasama dengan tu, kita nak bergerak sendiri, what we are doing is more and more talking about the policies that we are championing, talking about our ideals, showcasing our leadership, showing that Muda is not just Syed Saddiq and Amira Aisyah, but Muda is thousands of talented young people who want to build this nation together. And that is the vision for the direction of the party right now.
So you know what? I love the fact that we're talking about like 4 or 5 years because every time somebody talks about the future, and I do not see what's gonna happen in the next 5 years. Like I'm asking you guys, like, what do you guys think is gonna happen in the next 5 years? You guys, what selain Muda Form 1 graduate sekolah SPM, like
itu pun kita tak tahu.
Like, exactly.
What's gonna happen to them?
Masuk universiti tak?
We thought, we thought that PMR would be there and the PT3 and then everything's changed,
like do you have like politically like where do you see yourself in the next 5 years?
Well,
don't go too far lah. GE16.
Definitely I would want to be able to run in an election. And definitely for Muda especially, we want to ensure that there will be more member of parliaments from Muda in the parliament. And I will be more than honoured and happy if I'm given the chance and the trust by the party to run for parliament. And that is something that I wish to do in G16. However, as I've mentioned, more importantly than just what I want for myself, I want to be able to showcase the talents that we have in Muda. So what we're trying to do right now for GE16 is not to just talk about Syed Saddiq and Amira Aisyah, but to talk about this amazing team that we have in Muda, and so that when we run in G16, it's not just about these two figureheads,
the two brands, the two ambassadors.
Especially, I mean, and I'm like, Saddiq is the main person, so it's not just about Syed Saddiq, but it's about the team that we have, and that's most important.
That sounds amazing, because you know what, I was reading comments yesterday, lepas tu like Saddiq was live yesterday, right, at our studio. So macam like one person was like, just put more Muda faces and we'll vote for them. Tapi masalahnya berapa orang?
I think unfortunately our country has a I would say an outdated electoral system. It's first past the post system. And a lot of CSOs have talked about how this system has to be revisited, because first past the post is really not helpful to any new parties at all. We see in kadang-kadang kita tengok in other party election dekat negara luar, and we see, how is this small party able to win certain number of seats? Because they don't have first past the post. They might have a proportionate voting or parallel voting or ranked choice voting. You know, you can vote, or macam recently the most recent famous election would be the New York City Mayor election. And it is a rank choice. Maknanya you boleh undi, contohlah kalau I contest, you contest, Syed Saddiq contest. It's not just electing, katalah kalau dia nak Syed Saddiq, dia pangkas Syed Saddiq. That's what happened in our country.
Either or lah.
You cannot choose other people. But in New York, in countries that practice rank choice, dia boleh 1, 2, 3. So anyone has a chance. Or proportionate voting, where you can vote macam Thailand, you can vote party list, individual list. So there are multiple system that is deemed more democratic. Again, that is something that we've been calling over and over again. For Muda, definitely we want to put more people, right? But we are a small party, so there's only a limited amount of resource that we have, and we need to ensure that we'll be able to allocate that resource wisely, because election is an expensive venture.
It's very dah lah tak dapat duit balik kalau kalah kan.
Kalau kalah tak dapat lah.
That's so stressful.
Kalau menang pun you get back your deposit, but other things you're not gonna
you
get
have to
back.
fork out more money.
No,
actually, this is okay, I have to touch on it, okay? Like, because we're doing some research on sustainability for influencers, content creators online tau. And we've seen this trend where you guys, okay, Saddiq tak dapat funding untuk Muar kan. So what he's doing is he's doing side jobs, side hustles to get the money for the kawasan. So macam, is there a sudden trend where like politicians pun kena jadi influencers sebab nak dapat duit untuk fund, because like you're not getting the right amount?
Well, actually that unfortunately that has been the practice. That has been the practice. Cuma not all of us have the talent or the looks to be influencers
or the partners.
So some politicians, actually many politicians who have been in opposition parties have to juggle multiple work. Like for myself, I myself have to figure out how to pay my staff beyond the funding that I get. Contohnya dalam kawasan I, Saddiq in Muar, he has 80,000 voters. My constituency, I have 120,000 voters.
Oh my God, you have more than...
Definitely. My state seat is bigger than a lot of parliamentary seats.
Oh my God.
So that's why we also called for, relook at this constituency redelineation. But the amount that I receive is only 200,000 ringgit per year, which is the same as an adun that has 18,000 voters, for example. So that's not fair, right? And 200,000, orang tak tahu you dapat berapa. So they come and request a lot of things. But at the same time, you need to pay your staff. You want a functioning office. And you want to be able to pay them a dignified amount of money to compensate the work that they have done, because
the sacrifice
kerja tu tak mudah. You get calls at 2 or 3 a.m. And we do this willingly because this is what we want to do. But at the same time, they have to be properly compensated. So I have to use my own gaji to bayar some of my staff and figure out other ways to fund my office. And this is not just me. This is many other politicians out there. Saddiq has always been very creative in the way that he fundraised. And definitely, I think a lot of us look at that, at least for me, and I know that the younger ones, the younger politicians, look at that as something that is very inspiring. And we do wish that we have the capacity to do that. But again, as I've mentioned, not all of us have talents to be influencers. Tapi kalau ada yang nak jadikan saya, boleh tolong call.
Available.
Saya rela for the constituency. But yeah, benda ni memang sangat tak adil, and I think what we are very angry about with Saddiq's situation is that the allocation has been used as a saya selalu sebut benda ni lah, the allocation has been used as tebusan politik. If you want your allocation, you support us, and that is not fair. Not to us. For us, for the politicians, we still get our gaji. Jadi apa pun gaji kita dapat. But this allocation is to the people. It's not to us.
Yeah, to the rakyat, right? And it's so ironic. Like, it's... Okay. There's a long history of that, but like we all understand and we all know. So
betul. Anyway, kalau nak saya jadi ambassador apa-apa untuk tolong Puteri Wangsa,
silakan.
Boleh contact.
Just DM, slide into her DMs, guys. She will reply you. Or like Ami will reply you.
Adam
will reply you guys. Okay. Benda paling penting sekarang, I want to talk to you about Azam Baki. Tan Sri Azam Baki, MECC Commissioner. You're being investigated for the protest against him, right?
Yes.
Was it specifically on him?
Well, the protest was specifically about him.
About him.
Yeah.
Okay. Cerita kat semua orang kenapa you pergi protest pasal dia?
Actually, the protest against Azam Baki is not new.
Okay.
I've been in this protest, the same protest, but masa tu kita panggil Undo Azam Baki, and that was organised by a coalition of young people.
Okay.
In 2022.
Okay.
And during that protest, it was because there was an alleged, a very strong allegations that Azam Baki holds shares.
Yes.
Which, as a commissioner of MECC, he should not be able to hold shares. However, nothing was really being done to show that the investigation against Azam Baki was fair, was transparent, or that it is being done by a party that has no biasness towards Azam Baki. And so it is very unacceptable that the highest body that governs corruption, that fights against corruption, has somebody who has been alleged to be corrupted. Leading the MECC. So that is something that is super unacceptable. So we've had that protest in 2022. I've been investigated. But the recent protest was organised again by a group of young people, very brave young people who have staged a lot of protests against corruption.
Okay.
But during that protest, I spoke about a couple of things. Number one, I spoke about how it's not just ironic that Azam Baki has not been properly investigated. It's super ironic the fact that Kerajaan Pakatan Harapan was with us multiple times fighting against Azam Baki when they were in opposition, but now that they are in government, they've renewed Azam Baki's contract twice. Dah 2 kali Azam Baki punya contract renewed. So that's the first thing that I question. I felt that that's a huge hypocrisy. And it's a huge disrespect to the people who voted for you, thinking that you will fight against this. Number one. Number two, I question about adun-adun Sabah.
Okay.
Because initially they said that they cannot charge this adun because video-video itu ada edited. So they cannot use that as an evidence. But unedited versions of the videos have been submitted. And at that point of time, they haven't charged any of the adun Sabah anyway. When recently 2 has been charged, but I still feel that that's not enough. And so I question that. And again, I question about the fact that Musa Aman, who has had multiple corruption cases against him, and, you know, people say that he has cleared his name in court, but he hasn't. The only thing that he has received is dismissal not amounting to acquittal by the AGC. So that is not equivalent to clearing your name in court.
Bukan fight sampai habis Saddiq lah, basically.
Yeah, basically. And Saddiq punya Saddiq is still fighting because there's now an appeal against him. And so I question these 3 things. And so when I was called to the police to be investigated, it was mainly about the Sabah things. About the Adun Sabah and about Musa Aman. Because apparently a report was made was it in Tawau or Papar? Someplace in Sabah. In Sabah. A report was made in Sabah. But they said, it's okay, I don't have to come to Sabah. They transferred my case to Dang Wangi lah. So I was investigated in Dang Wangi. But my point is this. My point is that there have been multiple protests against Azam Baki and multiple protests about this Adun-Adun Sabah. Instead of wasting our resources on investigating those who protested, those who questioned, why don't you use that resource to investigate the allegations that have been made? So daripada you gunakan kuasa and duit yang ada to pressure the people who speak out, what you need to do is fight against that corruption and not fight against the people who want to fight corruption. It doesn't make sense. Yeah.
No. Okay. It's great. Thanks for explaining that. So next course of action macam mana? Just tunggu je.
Well, I have cooperated 100% with the police officers.
Okay.
So now it's just a waiting game lah. We see what's going to happen. I mean, I've been investigated multiple times as well for other protests, and Alhamdulillah, as of now, I have not been charged with any. And hopefully I will not be charged for this one, because I think that if I'm charged for this one, again, this shows a huge hypocrisy of this government.
Okay, you're right.
Yeah,
you're right. Okay, since we're already talking about protesting, kan, I want to just touch a little bit on Liga Malaysia. Liga Mahasiswa. Not Liga Malaysia. Liga Malaysia is football. Liga Mahasiswa Malaysia. So they have been very vocal for the past few weeks, I think, for the past few months. So even like Wong is there, Mandiri pun ada. Just like get to know, like, is Muda involved with Liga Mahasiswa?
We are not directly involved.
Okay.
They are a group of independent students who who organize these protests against corruption. But Muda has multiple times support these protests and come and attend their protest. Yeah.
What would you say, as a person, you said you've been investigated multiple times. What is your advice for these young people? Because banyak orang dah macam, I think like the pressure is much more because people are so much more critical now on social media. Like semua benda attack, even like budak cakap, lepas tu upload kat video pun extra harassment. Not even just them, their families are harassed. So what's your advice for the future generations?
First and foremost is my advice to the people of Malaysia who've been attacking these young people. Number one is that you have to understand that this is their right to express their unhappiness to the government, their unhappiness to corruption. It is 100% well within their rights. That's number one. Number two is that you can disagree with what they do, right? That is everyone's right. Whether you agree or you disagree, you can do that. But, be mindful and respectful with the way that you disagree with things. That's number one. Number two. And number three is that to remind everyone, especially Malaysians, that even before independence, protests has been existing in Malaysia even before independence. The movement towards independence in Malaysia was through street protests. Right? Without these people who paved the way through street protests, we will not be able to gain our independence.
Absolutely.
Without this kind of things that they call rude, or people say that, protest is rude, protest doesn't bring any fruitful results, bukan budaya Malaysia. All these things, without these things that you question, we will not be able to reach the kind of freedom that we have in our country today. So what they are doing, it's not wrong, right? That's number one. To the students, especially younger people, do not bow down to pressure. And I think they have been doing that accidentally. They do not bow down to pressure. Do not be afraid when they threaten you. Because if they threaten you, you need to understand as well that it is your right to peacefully assemble. It is your right to state your unhappiness with the government. Everything is within your right, and your bravery in fighting against corruption will give birth to more braveries out there. There might be people who are loud, rejecting what they are doing, but there are also a lot of people who are inspired by what you are doing. People who watch your videos or watch your photos or watch your speeches and think about, hey, one day I want to do that too, and say that if they can do this, I can do that too. Because that was me when I was young. When I saw young people who protested against government at that point in time, I was inspired to be part of that protest, and I was inspired to use my right as a Malaysian to say it. So even if you can't inspire all Malaysians, but what you are doing, if it manages to change the mindset of even one person, then you have successfully, done your duty as a Malaysian.
Inspiring words. Super inspiring. Like, I feel inspired. Okay. Okay, I think like before we end, I just want to touch on two things lah kan. Like, you've made clear about Muda punya stand towards the government, towards, you know, the hypocrisy and things like that. But like, what's your take for the second half of the year as we begin SST today?
I mean, I've been very vocal on criticizing this new increase of SST.
Yes.
Myself and Muda, we do not reject taxes. I think I want to put that out front, because some people, they twist my words and say that, oh, like, you ingat tak ada tax kita boleh survive ke? I do not reject taxes.
I think it's very clear, Muda and you and Saddiq has been repeating this. I tak tahu kenapa semua rasa. Okay, anyway,
selective hearing. We do not reject taxes. We understand that it is needed for the country to survive, but taxes have to be targeted to the rich people to benefit the poor. That is the purpose of taxes. But the introduction of the increase of SST, dia macam, I don't know whether was there any consultation, or was there even any honesty on behalf of the government, or any effort on behalf of the government to look down and to see what the people are actually struggling with. Already kita punya cost sara hidup is already really high. It's extremely high, right? Not just Malaysia, but the world is facing inflation. So we are already struggling. The B40 and M40 is already struggling. By increasing this SST, what is my biggest concern is that this increase of SST is on barang-barang asas. On of course you kata barang-barang imported, but these imported things are also barang-barang asas. Lain lah kalau you kata, oh, kita nak naikkan harga barang import because we want people to buy locals. I 100% agree. Let's support the local industries. But the issue is that a lot of these barang-barang asas, a lot of these fruits, or all these things that you want to increase tax, beras, all these things, we do not have capacity locally. Kita tak ada. So we are importing. So if you increase all these import products, bukan sekadar rakyat tak boleh nak beli barang lokal sebab barang lokal tak cukup. Rakyat have to suffer more and more. I really don't understand, because I think all these government MPs, you've worked with your people on the ground. You see how much they are struggling. I open Counter Bergerak in my kawasan every week, and every week there are people who say that, oh, YB, we cannot pay our bills. YB, I cannot buy Pampers for my kids. YB, I don't have rice at my house. Every week there are people saying this. Already gaji kita very low. So you do this, it's like meningkatkan lagi bebanan rakyat. And then the insult was when PM said, oh, kalau nak makan avocado bayarlah lebih sikit. Bukannya you naikkan harga avocado. It's so out of touch. Macam mana PM yang kononnya dulu Menteri Kewangan terbaik Asia boleh give such an out of touch comment. Lepas tu, oh tak apa, kita dah dengar suara rakyat, kita akan exempt apples and oranges. First and foremost, pada awal masa you buat tu, you tak buat research ke apa yang orang guna. Number two, bukan apple dengan orange je. Hello, there are so many other things inside there that will bring effect to the people. I had meet and greet with my peniaga-peniaga pasar pagi. And they all complained. Because at the end of the day, bila rakyat tak ada kuasa membeli, peniaga-peniaga kecil ni that will be highly affected. That will be the worst affected. And these are not peniaga-peniaga tokan-tokan besar mahal kaya that PM suka guna, but these are small vendors, right? Small local hawkers. How are they going to survive in this economy? Susah untuk diorang survive. Again, we do not call for taxes to be removed. We want government to introduce tax that is fair, especially to the B40 and M40 people. And again, another thing that I want to stress here, siapa maha kaya yang Anwar Ibrahim selalu sebut. Anwar Ibrahim kata, tak apa, ni hanyalah kepada golongan maha kaya. Sampai sekarang kita tak ada definisi golongan maha kaya tu siapa.
Okay, this might be running away a bit, but do you think there needs to be like a refresh, what do you call that word? Macam a definition or categories of T20, M40, B40, like a refresh one with the current global scale.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, before Rafizi Ramli resigned from his position, dia bagi a new definition
Yes.
to T20, M40 and B40,
Yes.
but he was doing it in silo.
Yeah.
The definition that he provided was not supported by the Prime Minister.
Oh, okay.
And so what is going on within that cabinet, I also don't understand. There's definitely need to be a refresh, because I read recently that T1 are those whose income is 13,000 ringgit and above. And it's so sad to think that 13,000 ringgit and above is the top 1% in Malaysia. It's even sadder to imagine that there are 80% of Malaysia, not 80%, 99% of Malaysians are living below 13,000 ringgit a month.
That's crazy,
Yeah.
right? Like 13,000.
Susah kita. I mean, I was raised in kawasan Setinggan.
Okay.
And when I was growing up, it was already difficult. Right? The people around me is already struggling to make ends meet.
Okay.
And this is kawasan Setinggan in the middle of bandar. So you cannot say, oh, you cocok lah, you bercocok tanam kalau you nak survive. There's no such thing. We aren't able. Tanam. Yeah, we aren't able to do that. Lepas tu nanti ada orang kata, oh, buatlah hidroponik. You rasa orang tu, dia tak boleh nak beli pun makanan untuk hari esok. Dia boleh ke buat hidroponik kat rumah? You know? Like this kind of orang kata macam out of touch comments lah yang buat orang sangat marah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I understand. I understand. No, it's just that one thing. Semalam they were talking about gaji army.
Gaji minimum naik.
Bukan gaji minimum, like gaji
progressive.
Something. I think, no, I can't remember the exact word, but it was like 3,700 or something like that.
That was gaji GLC and GLIC.
Okay.
Gaji pekerja-pekerja 153,000 if I'm not mistaken. Amir Hamzah made the announcement, right?
Yes.
If I'm not mistaken, 153,000 of pekerja GLC dan GLIC menerima gaji 3,700.
Yeah, 3,000
above 3,000
something
ringgit and above. And that is something that is commendable.
Yeah.
But 153,000 is nowhere near the amount of population of Malaysia.
I think people like always forget that, you know, you work in a GLC, GLIC, you work in a public, private sector, and it sounds so fancy and banyak duit. Padahal they are like,
yeah. And the KWSP report, EPF report says that for a single person, to live dignifiedly in Malaysia, in Kuala Lumpur, they need to earn 2,700 ringgit per month. To pay off their rent, to pay off kereta, or to pay off their transport to commute, to makan. This is a single person. So kalau orang tu ada keluarga, 2,700 is not enough. So again, it is commendable that there's 153,000 GLC and GLIC people who get 3,000 and above. But trust me, with the living cost in Kuala Lumpur, that is nowhere near enough.
You know, that's interesting because I just want to touch on something. Birth rates. Birth rates are dropping, right? And kita tak payah cakap lah pasal Korea and Japan. That's like we out lah. And
I think our country is 1.8%.
Yes, about that. And a lot of people are
1.8
saying
per woman, sorry.
Oh my god.
1 per 8 child per woman on average.
Like I've been covering a lot about birth rate for the past 10 years tau. For the past 10 years, aging nation, blah blah blah, semua lah. And it comes down back to the fact that, you know, orang nak ada anak pun susah. Sometimes on top of, tak payahlah cakap infertility semua, but to have more than one or two is very, very, very difficult. So macam, like, what's the vision there? What's your take there?
Most of my friends my age who are married, they do not want to have kids more than 2. Because even having one is a struggle. Especially when most of our generation lives in KL, kan? Sebab, I mean, this is where you want to get good gaji, right? So most of them live here. You know, I was invited to Qatar last year to speak about fertility and birth rate issues. And on the panel with me were people from the African nations. There were some panelists from the African nations. I think it was from Zimbabwe, because African nations have the best fertility rate.
Yes.
And there was also somebody from Korea. Yeah.
Okay.
Because they have the worst.
Yeah.
And we were debating whether or not financial incentives or cultural shift is more important when you talk about birth rate. I am of the opinion, and I'm a strong advocate for this, that of course you can talk about culture shift, but even if the culture shifted back to the place, to the days where
orang beranak 7, 8, 10 anak,
even if the culture shifted there, but if there's no financial support for the parents to have more than 1 or 2 children, we will not be able to do that. Because at the end of the day, we're not just talking about makan, minum, baby baru lahir. Because the cost is about, okay, lepas tu dia nak pergi sekolah, dia nak pergi kerja. And that's why a lot of working women have to make the sacrifices of resigning from their job, because it is much cheaper for her to stay at home and
do
take
everything,
care of the kids and do everything, rather than dual income dalam family. So it doesn't, I think this is something that we really need to review. Our childcare, we've been advocating for this. Muda has been advocating for this multiple times, to have free childcare, and to have a huge subsidy for kindergartens, because research shown that most Malaysians don't go to kindergartens.
Oh wow.
We thought that they do, but they don't. So a lot of people, bila dia masuk je darjah 1, they can't read. They can't read, they can't write, they can't count, because they don't have the primary school education. Sebab dia tak mampu nak hantar anak pergi kindergarten. Of course, ada kindergarten yang murah, macam Tabika Kemas. I am a benefactor of Tabika Kemas, because I was eligible to go to Tabika Kemas when I was younger. But it was not everywhere, and you can't tampung all people, right? So tadika is very expensive, and it's very difficult for our generation, especially kita kan millennials. It's very difficult because we are the sandwich generation. Kita kena jaga parents, right? We have to take care of parents, and then we have to take care of our children. So jangan cakap orang biasa. Saya sebagai ahli wakil rakyat, YB, and orang saya rasa YB ni gajinya besar. Orang rasa gaji YB ni besar. Saya sendiri pun ada uncertainty of whether or not I'll be able to provide my kids, my future kids, with a stable living in this economy.
Oh my God, that's so scary.
Scary, but I feel that we have to take examples from countries who have successfully maintained their good birth rates, like the African nations, for example. But again,
what did you learn from the African nations when you were on the panel? What was the difference?
There's a lot of pros and cons lah sebenarnya. Again, of course, daripada segi like the African nations, some of their because again it's cultural. For them, culturally, having big family is a show of strength, right?
Betul.
And so that's why for them, more importantly than financial incentives, is about the cultural shift. So for them, it's a show of strength, and they always mention about, it takes a village to raise a child, and that village, whether you like it or not, that village has to be the government.
Betul.
The government has to give a proper support for a woman to give birth, for a young couple to have children, for us, contohnya, good elderly care, for example. If we can afford good elderly care for our parents, bukanlah macam orang nanti katakan, YB Amira ni nak but there are nations, there are countries who have, like, really good
macam apa, if you watch American movies, there's like retirement,
dia macam tempat aktiviti for the parents, where you have nurses, you have activities, you have exercises.
I think like I've been reporting for the past 15 years pasal elderly care. Maksudnya macam child care. Tapi dia orang elderly. So and they go and play games, and semua pasal parents anak dia orang ambil dia orang balik rumah.
And it's actually a lot safer for these elderly parents, because you have the proper care, especially kalau parents tu ada sakit apa-apa, you pergi tempat yang ada proper nurse, ada proper facilities, in comparison to duduk rumah dengan anak perempuan you seorang, yang anak perempuan you kena jaga parents, and dia kena jaga anak kecil dia berkenek-kenek, like, so it's better to have this strong support structure.
But I think the issue is it's so stigmatized.
Macam
because nursing
macam
home,
buang mak ayah kan.
But like there's no, there's there's one like famous one right now, but maksud I macam nursing home or parents old folks home has become so badly. I feel like there is not good maintenance and not good. Jadi sebab itulah jadi problem as opposed to providing proper proper.
I think there's a responsibility on people like myself and also those who have significant influence to also break that stigma towards elderly care. Of course, you janganlah you tinggalkan and then you langsung tak visit. MIA, itu memang si tanggang lah kan. I'm not advocating for that. But giving proper elderly care is good for everyone.
Okay.
Again, this stigma also to the older parents lah. Especially I was thinking about, because while I was saying this, I was thinking about my grandma.
Okay.
And I think, and I 100% know that if we send her to elderly care, dia akan start. You know, dia sendiri. But you have to you have to convince them and show. And I agree with you. It has to start with ensuring that those places
are safe,
are
good,
beautiful, cantik. You know, have proper care and not run down and nampak macam penjara. Because I've been to rumah orang tua yang nampak macam penjara.
Oh my God. With like grills. Oh my God.
Yeah.
So there should be better. There should be better checks, monitoring and enforcement. Kan?
I have a couple of rumah orang tua in my constituency.
Okay.
But they are run by independent NGOs, and I can say that they are very, very well run. Okay. And these elderlies, if you ask them, they do not want to go back. Okay. They are happy. They are happy there because they're kawan.
People like-minded, same pace.
Kalau dia kata balik rumah anak selalu tak ada kerja. So better dia duduk sini.
Betul.
So if you make it nice, I think it's
Okay. All right. I think like we're done with the conversation. I love that we've been talking about youth rebellion and we've been talking about real stuff here. I hope you enjoy your time here.
I really love it. I feel like macam we managed to cover a lot of things.
Yes.
So I'm so grateful and thank you so much. You've been an amazing host.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Amira.
Thank you.
Semoga berjaya lagi in the next round of things. All right. I hope you're cleared as well. Okay, Johnny. All right. See you guys. Make sure to follow Sinar Daily. Okay. Follow Sinar Daily. Okay. Bye.
The world's unfolding, stories untold, voices rising and we're
Hello, this is Muda.
fearless and bold. We're taking the lead, empowering minds. The world's unfolding, stories untold, voices rising and we're
Hello, this is Muda.
fearless and bold. We're taking the lead, empowering minds.
Thank you.